and welcome to Black Cats Chat, the international fans podcast for Sunderland AFC. My name is Lee Thurkel. I'm from the Bilbao Black Cats, and we're back with a review show after our weird tying derby win against the Mags, 1-0. Tonight we've got three people on the panel from different places around the world. As always, we've got Paul in Barcelona. Paul, you were at the match. How are you, mate?
Oh, amazingly. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Have you recovered yet?
And just before Christmas, I mean, like, how good is it after that and knowing you got the Christmas holidays just to revel in it?
Oh, brilliant. And we fucked their holidays right up, haven't we? So it's even better. And we've also got Robin Bond. Robin is the founder of the SFC Czech Republic branch. Robin's in Prague. Robin, how are you, mate?
Yeah, very good. All the better after last weekend. Unfortunately, I didn't make it over to the game. I had planned to go over, but had an ankle operation last week. So pretty buoyant after the weekend.
Aye. Well, you didn't get drunk this time and fall over, did you not?
No, it was exactly a year to the day. So I said to the wife, I'm going out to watch it with the lads, and you can imagine what her response was.
We'll keep that for later.
Exactly.
And our final guest is, listen, there aren't many happy Geordies around today, but certainly one of our fans is a Geordie, and he's a happy lad. Sean Coxon in New Jersey from SAFC Nassau. Sean, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. Listen, I prefer to call myself like a Gated Durham boy, you know.
Yeah.
So I'd prefer that one if it's all the same, you know.
Well,
so,
listen, you are from what, Dunstan, Gated area, aren't you?
Aye, Dunstan, aye, yes.
But listen, you told me the day that your dad's a Sunderland fan like you, but your mum's a Mag season ticket holder.
She is. She's my ma's wounded. She's a black and white season ticket holder. Aye, she is. Aye. So there you go.
Have you been giving her some stick?
Do you know what? Right, like she's bang on me, Mark, because she never gets on my back when Sunderland lose, and I never get on hers. I think I know what it means to her. In Shiganza, like she's been gone for 35, 40 years, so I think I just let her get on with it, you know. So she's fuming, by the way, which is great.
Have you got any Christmas presents sent over? Anyway, listen, lads. Before we get into the game, obviously on Saturday night, some sad news came out with the sad passing of Gary Rowell, 68 years old. I think Paul, Sean, and myself, it's like before our time. Robin, I mean, it's in the nicest possible way, but you probably remember Gary Rowell. You've probably seen him play. Tell us about him.
Well, believe it or not, my first ever experience of a derby game was the 4-1 at St James's Park. And I was lucky enough, or unlucky enough, to get a ticket. We actually went to St James's Park to buy the tickets. And we had tickets in the Gallagher end, so we were stood as like 14, 15-year-old kids, along with one of our school teachers who kindly took us along to the game, very quietly at the front of the Gallagher end. So, that was my first experience of the derby games, and I thought it was always going to be like that. Little did I know. But yeah, I was starting to watch Sunderland from around about. I started in 72, so around that time, 79, 80 was when Gary Rowell, Sean Elliott, and Kevin Arnott broke into the team. That famous season where we almost stayed up. Through the three youngsters having had a terrible season, went on a run, 6-0, 6-1, 4-0 against Borough. So, Gary Rowell was just an absolute, probably my first real Sunderland hero, if I'm honest. So very, very sad to hear it on Saturday night. I picked it up on Facebook, on Mickey Horsfall's Facebook page, believe it or not. And couldn't find anything else anywhere on Facebook, so I wasn't sure whether it was true. And then all of a sudden, it just exploded. And all of the accolades that came in, within the hours before the game were, truly exactly what Gary Rowell was. I'd met him a couple of times on trains to and from away games, and met him a couple of times at Old Roker Park and then the Stadium of Light, and an absolute gentleman and a great player.
Yeah, no, totally echo that. I mean, he played just under 300 games for us. He was a local lad from Seaham, scored 103 goals, one of three players to score 100 goals post Second World War, obviously the others being Len Shackleton and Super Kev. But, I mean, Sean, you probably remember this as well. I mean, my memories of him as a kid were on the radio with Simon Crabtree.
Yeah, well, do you know what's funny, right? Because the song's my favourite song. I love when you go away and we all live in a Gary Rowell world, starts in the fire, the place goes mental. And I've always loved it. And it's funny, he was my dad's favourite player. And my dad tells this great story about my dad was at the 4-1, just like Robin said there, you know. My dad was at the 4-1, and when he got the hat trick, my dad was visiting my mum and the in-laws in the West End of Newcastle. So they just won 4-1. My dad had to zip his coat up. He's on the bus and it's going up the West Road. It goes through Kenton. This might surprise you, but the mag smashed the bus to pieces. That might shock you a little bit. They wrecked the bus and all that. My dad says there was hell on. They were fuming. He says he gets up the bus at the top of my nana's street. He says when the door shut, he pulled his top down. He went, fucking have it. He says they were fucking stopping the bus. They were trying to get off the top. He says, I ran down your nana's street and I came in loose. I was sweating. He says I was a good runner on them days. So, he loves that story, and he was my dad's favourite player. So I was devastated when I heard the news, but I think it made the victory even more sweeter, to be fair with you.
Definitely,
So,
definitely. Right, well, anyway, listen, lads, we'll talk about the game. Paul, you were there. I mean, you arrived on Saturday morning. Did you feel the kind of atmosphere building nicely on Saturday morning when you got there?
Yeah. Well, I was on the plane over. There was a lad behind me in this like Newcastle Christmas jumper, so I was already like, oh.
Did you put your chair back on purpose?
Unfortunately, on Ryanair, you can't recline, can you? Otherwise, I might have done.
You can't sit these days on there.
but yeah, I got into Sunderland, and it was brilliant. Just kind of you could feel it building, and just kind of around. My brother lives down in like Roca, so it was just around the seafront there, and yeah, it was dead nice. Just getting ready for the match.
Yeah, I mean, Robin, I have to admit that, like, I started planning for the podcast, but the only things I could write on the paper were how are the lads and fuck the mags. So, listen, we'll start with, like, basically, we talked about Gary Rowell. The lineup came out. Were you surprised that Brian Brobby was in there instead of Wilson?
I certainly was, yeah. It was a big surprise. I thought he'd go with Isidore for his pace and, long balls over the top. But fair play to Brobby. I thought he had a fantastic game. Held the ball up well, and was a bit of a nuisance for the centre halves. They were, resorting to pulling them all over the place, and I thought he gave a great account of himself.
I agree with that. I thought he was excellent. I mean, he certainly batted him around. He won headers. He was holding the ball up well, and he looked quite fast when he actually did a couple of sprints. So hopefully he's like coming into some good form towards the Christmas period. Sean, we went with the back four in the end. It was Trey Hume who jumped out. Were you happy with that? You wanted the back four, I think, didn't you?
I did, because I just thought, look, we can match these, and I said that to you. I said, player by player now, we can match these, and I thought we don't have to be defensive against these. I think we're better than them, but I think we're certainly player by player. We don't need to shy away. I think we're two full-backs are brilliant. Centre-backs are good, and the midfield three are top draw. So I thought get at them and use the back four. And I'm pleased he did. I was disappointed for Hume, I really was. But I loved it when he come on and made that big crunch and tackle. I thought it was brilliant. Happy
Definitely.
days.
Paul, I mean, I mentioned this on the podcast in the preview with Danny and Justin last week about it. Just the build-up from the club side of social media was very quiet. It was like basically keeping the players away from the exposure of the derby, and it was focusing all on the fans. And I thought that was absolutely brilliant and perfect.
Maybe they knew what was coming, and they were getting ready to go into overdrive from Sunday onwards. Because since the match, it's been amazing, hasn't it? The social media from the club, it's been brilliant. So maybe they were just saving themselves.
I agree. I think the build-up was very, very low key from our point of view. I think there was a lot of noise from the black and white side of the northeast, and in some respects, I think they went into the game almost arrogantly. I think
there's a shock.
Just turn up. I mean, I watched a lot of the Sky build-up. Nobody before the game on any of the Sky punditry gave us a chance. Nobody at all.
Really, that's quite surprising. Go on, Paul.
And in the build-up, it was in Lebris's press conference, and he was saying how he was basically saying it's just another game. It's just another game. We're just preparing the same way. But I mean, it's easy to say that, but I think deep down it wasn't like that. You heard like Xhaka after the game, I think, or even before the game, Xhaka was saying, "Now we're this is different. We've got to actually, we've got to put all the energy into it. We've got to use the energy from the crowd, and basically we're going to let ourselves get carried away a little bit because it's the best way of giving everything we've got."
Yeah, I mean, their fans were saying, weren't they, like their biggest game was the Champions League game, and that was nonsense, wasn't it? Paul, you got some guests there behind you, mate, as well.
Another Sunderland fan,
little Mackems.
Martina, yeah. Just on the point about Robbie, I think that was probably the most underrated performance because he made such a massive difference holding the ball up. Like compared to the last time we played them, and it was just horrible, wasn't it, in the FA Cup? And it was like we just couldn't keep the ball against them. They just took the ball off us every single time they wanted to. And you knew from the first whistle, we gave it away after like 10 seconds. And then it was just, we didn't have a chance. Whereas on Sunday, and I think a lot of this was down to Robbie, everything stuck when it went up to him. And it was like totally different. Suddenly we were straight away from kickoff. We just controlled the game. We kept possession and we just like hit a groove early. And it was brilliant.
Yeah. No, and Robin, the typho and the display was brilliant, and also like the other kind of I don't know how to say this because there's kids there, like the other things we did in terms of like on the scoreboard with the visitors on the, you know what I mean? I think there was a lot of thought process went into that, isn't it? And all like to follow the Mackems stuff as well. The club really thought about this, about how they could make up for what happened a couple of years ago, didn't they?
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, they shot themselves in the foot with the Black Cats bar and the black and white decking out of it. There's no way they're going to make that sort of mistake again. And from the top down, I think everybody gets what it's all about. The atmosphere at home now is just, I was there for the Bournemouth game, and the atmosphere is just unbelievable now compared to what it was last season. They're getting a lot of things right. I was sat watching the match, and when it flashed to Sunderland 1, visitors 0, I was just absolutely laughing my head off. And then they've just, they've rubbed it in quite a nice way, I would say.
Oh yeah.
So let's enjoy it while we can.
Yeah.
The other thing is in terms of like preparation, when you look at the video after the match, you could see that Simon Moore goes over to 09 and suggests the photo, and Xhaka shouts like, yeah. And you could tell that they talked about it before the game. So Labrie saying that, no, that the game in the FA Cup was different and blah, blah, blah. It's a different team. You could tell afterwards that actually the team had talked a lot about that and had actually been like preparing, thinking like what even planning for what we were going to do if we won.
Yeah. I read somewhere that about 10 minutes before full time, they were ringing around all of the support staff saying, "Get yourself down pitch side. We're going to do the photo."
Yeah, because
true that is.
Yeah, because that obviously hurt, didn't it? I mean, if you remember 2 years ago, they had the tea ladies, the cleaners, the cooks, they had everyone on that pitch. For a game they love that one, don't they? Sunderland mean nothing to us.
Yeah,
I think we do, right?
Exactly.
And the whole visitors thing. Robin's kids are there, so I think visitors was in there. I would have put a word beginning with C on the scoreboard for them. I think visitors let them off lightly, if I'm being honest with you. But I think it was brilliant.
Sean, I wouldn't have put cup winners up there.
Aye, but anyway, Paul, I suppose in the first half we totally controlled that game, and did it come as a surprise that Newcastle had like Elanga and Gordon on the wings, but they didn't offer anything at all, did they not? They were just like holding off.
Yeah. Well, Gordon, he had a bad game, and there was a brilliant tackle by Ballard on him when he went up to him, and Ballard timed it absolutely perfectly, massive cheer. And then he had one where he basically ran it out of play to like loads of cheers. He had a bit of a mare. But overall, in general, because Newcastle, one of their strengths is pressing, isn't it? And they didn't really press us. They weren't really pressing. They kind of, sometimes it felt like they were letting us have the ball a bit. I was massively surprised, pleasantly surprised to see actually we're so comfortable in possession.
I mean, Robin, for me, like when you got a derby, you always think of like Lee Cattermole on callback, Kevin Ball getting that challenge in, hitting the crossbar. This was a different type of derby, wasn't it? It wasn't a derby where we needed to make challenges like that in the first couple of minutes. You could see that Xhaka had everything under control and he had the players on board as well. And there weren't any kind of silly mistakes or silly tackles or losing of heads. It was absolutely perfect preparation, wasn't it, really?
Oh, I think it was. We started the game brilliantly. I think, we dropped into a mode where I think frustrated Newcastle the way we were passing the ball about. I don't think we gave them the opportunity to press us. We were at times, passing the ball 20, 30 yards back just to keep possession. And I think in terms of the team selection, much as I love Trey Hume, I think, there was method in the madness in terms of not starting him, because if anybody was going to put a tackle in like that in the first 10 minutes, it was going to be Trey Hume. So, and the two fullbacks, I thought even when Newcastle, what little possession they did have, we kind of sat off, we jockeyed them, they caused us no trouble whatsoever, and I think we really, really frustrated them. I think, I guess Howe would probably go into, like most teams coming to Sunderland, try and silence the crowd. They didn't get an opportunity to silence us because we just passed the death out of them for the first 20 minutes.
Yeah. Sean, there was a challenge, a 50-50 challenge by Nordy on Dan Burn. It's broken a couple of ribs and he's punctured his lung.
He's from Blythe. Yeah, I bet.
But I know there was some people saying that he was lucky only to get a yellow. What do you think?
I mean, I wouldn't even give him a yellow. No. Listen, joking, look, right, because they give it the bigging all the time, them, right? The arrogance, the bigging, and we just went about with business, and we weren't phased. And even that, like, I seen Dan Burn coming in and he's putting his hands behind his ears and he's giving it the bigging. Well, he left it in an ambulance, mate. So, unlucky, isn't it, Big Dan? There's only one Big Dan in the Northeast. That's all I'll say on that.
Paul, you were watching from the stands. Were you getting a bit twitchy when he made that tackle and he got the yellow? You thinking VAR might have a look?
I was sat on the very front row of the southwest corner, and that happened on the other side. So basically, I had a terrible view of it. Couldn't really see what had happened. When I saw it later, the replay, I thought it was probably a yellow. Definitely not more than a yellow, but probably a yellow. But what you could tell straight away was that he was properly hurt, because you could tell he was trying. He wanted to carry on, but he was in agony.
Yeah,
I think I think that won us the game, because I was talking to a mate of mine who was a mag after the game. He was actually there. He's one of them mags you can have a little conversation with. He's okay. And I says to him, I goes, I can't believe that the big daft German was where he was. And he says it's because Dan Burn was off injured. He goes, if Burn hadn't got injured, Burn would have been in there and headed that away. He goes, I think they put Woltemade there on your set pieces because Burn was off the field. So, well done, Mookie Haley,
Yeah. Robin, you were going to come in there, mate?
No, I was just going to say it was one of them tackles. They both slid in. It could have ended up equally could have ended up with the roles being reversed. It could have been Mickey Haley with the broken ribs. There was certainly no intent in the tackle. They both
it was a 50-50, wasn't it? Yeah.
I thought he was, personally, I thought he was a little bit unlucky to get a card for it. Yes, when you slow things down and you see them slow motion, they look a lot worse. But it could have equally gone the other way. They were both going at it. It was just unlucky that it turned out that way, and unlucky for Dan Burn that he ended up the way he did.
Yeah. Paul, I'm going to go as far as saying that I thought, in terms of like passing, I thought that was probably the best we've played all season. Like, our passing was so crisp. We didn't create much, obviously, but I thought it's like the way we were passing, patient build-up, and I just thought, I don't think I've seen us play better than that this season in terms of possession play.
Yeah, especially because we've started a lot of home games. We've started quite slowly. Lots of games, the opposition have had most of the ball. So yeah, it was brilliant to see, like you say, in such a high pressure game to be playing so calmly. I would say that I'm just like thinking back now, I think after around half an hour, they started coming back into it, and you saw like Tonali started getting on the ball more, and that was when I suddenly started thinking, okay, now they're starting to get a bit of a foothold in the game. But that was only after about 30 minutes, and it wasn't like they were bossing it either. But like until that point, we were just like totally in control.
Yeah, I mean, Sean, the commentators on the stream I was watching, the Spanish stream, they were saying basically Sunderland need to convert this pressure into a goal. We didn't get that. We went into half time at 0-0. What do you think in second half? Are you thinking like they're going to come out differently? And
well, do you know, I thought they'd come out with early anyway. I thought they had panicked and bottled it. I do. I think they came to a gunfight with a knife. I just didn't think they wanted to know. As soon as they got out that tunnel, I thought they looked white as a sheet and they were panicking. But yeah, I thought they were there for the take, and I thought we didn't get enough balls in the box. I thought we didn't. We sort of went back when we were in good positions. We didn't get enough shots away. But do you know what? I wasn't worried. Like, from minute one, I wasn't worried in that game, because not only were we winning the first ball, we were winning the seconds and the thirds, and I just thought they're going to have to do a hell of a lot in that dressing room for him to get them up for this, because Sunderland's so on top of this game. I understand it was only 0-0, but like you said and the boys said, possession-wise, we were miles better than them, and fight-wise, and you can't just turn that fight on like that when a team's better than you, and I just think they just bottled it. They didn't want to know,
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the only nervous moment we had was that if Anthony Gordon had played, well, no, it was Woltemade, wasn't it? If he'd have played that ball across to Anthony Gordon, who was totally free. But I mean, that was the only scary moment we had in the first half.
Yeah.
But Robin, if we look at the goal, Granit Xhaka always gets into that position. He did the same thing against was it Bournemouth when Traore scored? He played that little reverse pass. He's always in that area, isn't he? And he always plays the right pass.
Yeah, no, we could sit here and talk for hours about Xhaka and the way he's been since the start of the season. Just awesome in terms of the way he manages a team on the pitch. He's just such a presence, picking up a lot of loose ball, never panics, and like you say, he turns, plays them balls back out of defense, out of boxes to players in and around the box. And what a cross.
Oh, it was one Paul. I mean, you were there in the stadium. That cross from I mean, I think it was Ballard and Xhaka spoke after full time, or someone spoke after full time, and he said one of the things that the coach said at half time was that we need to get more balls in the box and faster. And 1 minute into the second half, and that's probably like a bend it like Beckham goal, wasn't it? Like, but bloody hell.
He did. He hit it as soon as he could, couldn't he? It was like basically got it, and he just the first opportunity just got it straight in the box. Loads of power on it, curling, and I think probably one of the reasons why Woltemade did it. And I mean, like you can't really see what he was trying to do, to be honest. But the reason he panicked, I think, was because he didn't have a chance to really properly get his bearings and see what was going on around him, because it kind of went out wide. The next thing, it's already coming straight at his head, and he kind of because Mukiele just like crossed it so quickly, and then he just obviously threw his head at it, and it was a mare.
I think he'd forgotten we changed ends.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's what it just seemed like. I don't think nobody expected a goal so quickly. I imagine Paul, people were still probably returning back to the seats, were they?
Yeah, someone next to me wasn't back. Yeah. It did. I don't know. I was actually surprised that it was in the first minute. Afterwards, I don't know. Like it didn't feel like that, to be honest. I guess I don't know. I managed to get my trip to the toilet out of the way quickly and was back in plenty of time. But it didn't feel like, because sometimes at the start of the second half and it's like it's really quiet and you feel like it's still just about no one's really ready yet. It didn't feel like that. But at the same time, I'm sure there were a few people who were still. Right. In fact, the person next to me then showed me a video of the concourse, because they were like, "Oh yeah, this was the scenes down in the concourse," because they were just down there, and it was actually pretty busy. Just to contradict what I've just said, it was actually pretty busy on that video.
Yeah, my nephew missed it. He was still downstairs finishing a pint off.
Right, we need to stop calling him Woltemade. We need to call him Woltemade. Sean, did you notice the role Alderete played in that goal? Have you noticed it?
Yes, he was. Yeah. He was. He won the ball, didn't he? And played the. He won the tackle, and he played the original ball in, didn't he, for the throw in? If I'm right in thinking.
Aye, but I'm talking about the clap.
Waving the hands.
Oh yeah, true, yeah. When he puts him off, doesn't he? he jumps up and puts him off. Yeah, and that was brilliant. That was yeah. But going back to Xhaka, what the boys have mentioned, like I know. Listen, we've waxed lyrical about him, and Kevin Ball will always be my hero. He will, but I think in my lifetime I've never seen a better player in a Sunderland shirt than Granit Xhaka. I know, like me dad will mention like Jim Baxter and stuff, but for me, in my life now, like he's so cool and good, and he's just mint, man, isn't he? So
Absolutely.
I mean, I just kind of think of a better player or a more influential signing that we've ever made, you know, because I know people will have the Kevin Phillips debate, but we didn't know anything about him when he came, you know, but we all knew about Xhaka, and just, I don't know, he's just something special, isn't he, boys, you know? He really is.
No, I agree with that. And even like, I think it was Micah Richards as well on Sky Sports was also saying that he's probably the sign of the season so far, for not just for Sunderland, but for the whole Premier League. But yeah.
He's just exactly what we needed, because we've got so many new signings, and he's just like the glue holding it all together.
He is.
He's brilliant. But if I would put, I mean, we've got so many good players now. I would say even maybe Alderete might be a better player in my book, but Xhaka is by far the most important player for us, just because of his position, his role in the team. It was an amazing signing to get him, because it's like everything else follows from him.
It's been a long time since we had such an affiliation with, like, I love all of them. Like, you know, I love Enzo Lefebvre. I just think he's so underrated. It's people. I think me mate's an Arsenal fan, and he watched him in the Arsenal game and went, "That Lefebvre's meant for you." And I went, "Mate," I said, "people don't realise till they watch him what a good footballer he is." And I've said all along, Reinildo's the best left back in the Premier League, and we've just got so many decent footballers now, you know, and we've got such an affiliate. And to be honest, I think they really get it as well. Like, just the scenes at full time, and like Xhaka looking around, like, I bet you'll be interested if he's at Sunderland for the next year or two when he retires at Sunderland. I bet when he looks back on his career, he'll say, "That was where I was my happiest." I honestly think he will, because they love him, and he just seems to get it, you know. And I think Siddiqui does, and yeah, it's just very refreshing, isn't it? You know,
yeah.
It's just a team spirit there, isn't it? You know,
massively.
We haven't seen we've had good team spirit in the last 2 or 3 years, but I think
considering we're all new players.
And I think
they seem like they've just gelled and get along.
Yeah, I think Jack has had a big part to play in all of that as well. You know, you hear about what he's doing behind the scenes and what he's doing off the field and in training, and you know, making some of the youth team lads come and sit and have dinner with him, and just creating that you are part of the club. It's not the first team, it's not the youth team, it's not the under-21s. We're all in it together.
Yeah.
And I think from top to bottom now, from the owners right down, they know what it's about. They know what it means to us. They know what it means to the city. They know what it means to everybody going to work Monday to Friday, living for it on a Saturday. They've got it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he is a true leader. I mean, I remember Tony Mowbray a few seasons back when he was talking about Luke O'Nien when Luke O'Nien was captain, and he said that Luke O'Nien was like the best trainer, but he got a bit frustrated because he felt that people weren't like living up to the same standards as he was setting. But I think that's because he doesn't have those same leadership qualities as Granit Xhaka does, and doesn't get the same respect as Xhaka does. So I think that's probably a fair point as well. But yeah, I mean, after we scored the goal so soon, obviously we expect the Mags to come out, but they didn't really do anything until they made 3 subs, Paul, didn't they? Like, they brought 3 subs on. I think it was Willock, Barnes, and who was the other guy? Murphy, I think. Wisser. Well, Wisser came on later. Murphy came on first.
Murphy.
So, but like, I mean, they had a little spell, like 10 minutes, where they got onto the ball a bit more, but they didn't really hurt us, did they not?
I think we deliberately kind of changed the tactics a little bit, and we're happy to give them the ball, soak up the pressure, and we looked like really comfortable. I was still like, heart rate was still through the roof, just because you're just expecting the worst, aren't you? But like, I know the bloke next to me said like, "Oh, come on, like, calm down," because I was just constantly looked like I was, you know, about to have a heart attack. And he was like, they're never going to score, because we just looked so solid. But I was just so nervous, just because, partly just irrational because it's Sunderland, but also because we did give them a lot of the ball, and we were kind of happy for them to be in possession because they were, and we just defended. We just got people behind the ball in the right positions, and we looked totally solid. But they did in the second half. They did have a lot more of the possession. I don't know what the stats were, but I think they ended up shading possession for the match. And the first half must have been like definitely us. I think the second they must have had a
53-47 overall for them.
Right. I think it must have been. I reckon they must have had more than 60% of the possession second half, or maybe something like that. Yeah. But yeah, it wasn't. It was kind of you think if you were neutral watching it, you would still think that we were in, even though they were having the possession, that we were still in control. We were just, we were in front, and we were happy to let them have it, and we were just, defending, staying in the right positions, and looking for an opportunity to catch them on the break if it came.
But we were still in control, Sean. I just looked at the Mags players' faces, like Woltemade, Bruno, Tonali, even, what's his name, Eddie Howe on the touchline. They just looked shell-shocked, didn't they?
Well, I said that here. I said they give it the beginning. I think they shit themselves. I really did. I think they weren't expecting it. I think I was panicking a little bit when Bruno started getting on the ball in the 60th minute and stuff because he's a top player, And I thought Barnes when he come on looked lively as well. But them were the two where I thought if they're going to get something, it'll be out of Bruno or Barnes, and obviously they didn't, And it just the game got away from them, didn't it? But it's funny because, like Paul said, they was nervous and stuff. I've got mates who were there who said they weren't, but my dad was like, "Oh, I was on 10," because yourself, it only takes a bad decision, a corner, a slip. I mean, something stupid that they didn't deserve, but you kind of think, well, Labrie and these boys, man, they're just so cool, aren't they? Like, I'm looking at Labrie, and he's just waxed. It's the way he is. He loves it, doesn't he? So, in a way, I look back and think, why was I nervous? What am I doing? Come on, Sean.
And this is like talking about individuals again, like Roofs. Even though he didn't have to make a save, he was so solid.
He was brilliant. Yeah.
And in a game where like it was so tight, it was just a mistake was going to decide it. In the end, they made a mistake, and we didn't make any mistakes at all.
Do you know what done it for me, Paul, with Roofs was when he came off his line for that one on the 18-yard box, and he came flying through traffic, and he took it. Yeah. And I'm thinking, that just set the tone. I thought to myself, because that's no man's land for a goalkeeper. That's if you miss that there, you're in serious trouble. But the way he's just come off through a crowd of people, took it, and I just thought, yeah. And by the way, can I just say, that dirty little so-and-so for them at the end should have been sent off when he clipped them, by the way. That was a red card.
It was that Tiao, wasn't it?
No, it was Willock. I think
Willock,
in the 92nd minute when Roofs has got it and he kicked them, that was a red. That was shocking, So, yeah.
Still morning.
But I mean, he's gone a bit under the radar, Roofs. So in terms of, we talk about Xhaka, I think equally Roofs has been an absolutely fantastic sign, and what we paid for him. And, I love Patterson as well. So Patterson was a great keeper, but it's one of the things Patterson didn't really do was command his box. He just makes the defence. Must make them so confident having them behind them.
It's funny because I work with a lot of Dutch boys, and they're all like Ajax and Feyenoord, and they were all saying when we signed him, they went, none of the Dutch teams could afford him financially from where they were. He was on the radar of every Dutch team, and none of them could afford them. And Sunderland just come in and went, bang, there's 10 million or 11 million. And Ajax were regretting it, and Feyenoord, and they're all fuming now in Holland saying, why didn't we just match what Sunderland paid? So fair play to the recruiting staff. He's been brilliant.
Yeah. I tell you what, there was bodies on the line though. I mean, there was a shot, I can't remember who it was from, I think it was from either Tonali or Bruno, where they shot it and Alderete just headed it. And it must have knocked him for six.
Nearly knocked him out.
It nearly knocked him out. You could see that. He was shaking his head like groggy. But bodies on the line. Enzo Lafille, Paul, we mentioned him before. I thought he was top class. He's just like a little fly, isn't he? He's like everywhere.
Yeah. And I'm loving watching the nutmeg. Have you seen the nutmeg video back? This is one of the ones that's doing the rounds this week. That was right in front of me as well. Yeah, he's class. He just, like you say, buzzes around. We've got a really good touch. And Newcastle midfield is like one of their strongest points. So for him to put in a good performance, but the thing is, I reckon pretty much everyone was like 8 out of 10, weren't they? Like 7, 8 out of 10, just really solid. There's probably only maybe Traore he didn't have a bad game, but maybe like a tiny bit below that. But pretty much everyone had almost a shout for man of the match. Like everyone just was a really solid performance.
He was better than Elanga, though, wasn't he, Paul?
Yeah.
Who would you rather have? Traore for 1.2 or Elanga for 55?
Yeah. And I know, Lee, you asked me about Lefebvre, but Sean mentioned before Reinildo. And I mean, people who've been watching all the matches this season, they're used to it. But for me, like being on the front row of the Southwest Corner, just what the first half when he was right in front of me, it was unbelievable how good he is. Yeah. He's just insanely good. He's so quick. He's so strong. He like reads everything. His positioning is brilliant. His timing of tackles is brilliant. He basically just put in an immaculate performance.
Yeah. Right. Listen, lads, we've got to take a very short break. Sean, I don't know if you can continue for a bit more, but we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Hey guys, I'm Millie. I'm from Córdoba, Argentina, and I've been supporting Sunderland since 2014. Sunderland take over everywhere we go.
All right, welcome back to part 2 then. So we were just talking there about Enzo Lefebvre, about Reinildo, Robin Roofs, Alderete. Then towards the end of the game, Robin, we didn't really look too troubled. I mean, even though Xhaka went off for the last 30 seconds because he cut his eye, there was a bit of a squabble on the pitch as well. But I thought we looked in total control for the majority of the game. Like we didn't look like losing.
No, I was a bit like Paul though. My fingernails are almost down to my knuckles. Even to a point, I was watching with my wife and one of my mates, and I said I'd take a draw. I always wouldn't have done. And they were like, "Are you mad? Are you mad? We're not going to lose this." And I'm like, "No, I hope we're not." But we didn't. It just takes one slip, and that's why I'm always nervous. It is Sunderland, and that's what we've been brought up with. We used to conceding late goals, but just with this team, you don't think like they're going to. But just the fact it was a derby game, I was still nervous, but didn't think we were going to lose it.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've seen today in the Northern Echo about Lefebvre, actually. There's a great article talking about him and why he came to Sunderland. He just said like he was at Rome, he was playing in Serie A, but he said that he was on the bench. Lebris called him and he said, "You want to come to Sunderland in the Championship?" And some people laughed at him in Rome, saying like, "Why would you want to go there?" And he just says that I wanted to play football. And that's like really nice to hear, isn't it, Paul? Like that sort of attitude and come to a place that, he's heard of, but the league below, but he knows the coach and he knows that he's going to get the best out of him.
Yeah, brilliant. And also to have had that experience joining at the end of last season and seeing the progression from being one of the stars of the team last year to suddenly being part of this new team this year. It's important to have at least a few players with that to give a bit of continuity.
Mm-hmm. Sean, I'm going to let you talk about the tackle from Trey Hume on Lewis Hall. That was like the cat and ball on callback, wasn't it?
Just mint. It was just Trey. He just loved it, didn't he? I'm disappointed in the way he didn't get a booking. I am, because it's just he timed it so well, man. He did, and he just the velocity. He was, in a way, he was close to him. Whereas I like it when Hume runs up. I always think he's like a lion when they're stalking a wildebeest, and he just runs and then batters you in. He was close to him, wasn't he? So he couldn't get that full where he ended up in the air and spinning, like what happened earlier on in the season with Morgan Rogers. And when I was at Wigan years ago, and he done it to McLean, like that sort of tackle. I would have loved him to have spun up in the air. It would have been even better. But yeah, it was brilliant though. It was just Trey Hume-esque, wasn't it?
And even Regis was giving it a round of applause.
He was.
Enzo Lefebvre was loving it. No, and Mukiele was like telling him to get up as well. And it was just a tip-top performance. Paul, when that final whistle went, what was that noise like?
Yeah, and was that the Sunderland's last kick of the ball, that Hume tackle?
No, I think it was 30 seconds after. Yeah,
because that was pretty much it, wasn't it? But I mean, then Newcastle maybe just kind of went back to their keeper, and then that was it. Anyway, so the final whistle, it was massive relief, celebrations. everyone stayed in the ground for ages. I mean, I was there like pretty much until no one else was still there. I was just sat on the railing, just lapping it up, watching, like all the players leave, then all the celebrations, then watching like Phillips and Defoe were doing their bit for telly. Some Newcastle players came back out for a warm down, and everyone was giving them loads of stick. It was brilliant when it was all over, and you could just enjoy it.
I'll tell you what, lad, you've had some kind of record this year seeing Sunderland matches, because you went to the semi-final against Coventry in the Ballard goal. You went to Wembley with me. You were at the West Ham game, and now you're at this game. So you're a lucky charm, aren't you?
Yeah. The thing is, and I feel like I've won the lottery, but then actually, people who have got like season tickets, people who go to every match, have had it even better because as well as all those games, we've had loads of other brilliant games as well. It's not like I've missed loads of defeats. It's like we've just been it's amazing for everyone.
I knew I shouldn't have gone to the Huddersfield League Cup game, but never mind.
I forgot about that one.
I went to that one. Robin, you received a special video message from Super Kev, I heard.
Yes, I did. Saturday morning, I've got a lad who we used to play junior football with. Is actually now very good mates with Kevin Phillips and plays golf with him. Goes to quite a lot of the matches with him. So he kindly sent a video wishing the Czech branch all of the best of luck, and actually predicted that Sunderland were going to win. So it was very, very nice to receive that. And he's also promised to get himself over to see us sometime in Prague next year. So really looking forward to entertaining Super Kev the way he entertained me for 7, 8, 9 years, whatever it was.
Yeah. Sean, it's nice to see that like these ex-players getting back involved with the club.
It is. I mean, again, it's what the club's doing, isn't it? I know, they had Barini at Old Trafford, they've had Seb Larson there, they've had Phil. It's nice, and again, it's this whole coming together, and it's this whole feel-good factor that we have, that the club are getting right. They really are, and just this victory, it was generational, because my son's 12, and he can't remember the last time we beat Newcastle because he was 4, and it was like, for him, he was dead happy, and he couldn't believe it, and it's brilliant, because he's starting to get the whole animosity and venom towards them. Like, I had the podcast on in the car the other day, and he goes, Dad, why do they say that they're everyone's favourite second club? He went, whose second club are they? I went, well, the no ones. He goes, why did they say it? I went, they just alluded, son. and he's starting to get the whole bite now, and he was like, he was like, do you know what, Dad? He said, why are they smashing their own city up? And I went, it's what they do now when they lose to Sunderland. And he said, but I don't get why. And then I showed my wife yesterday that because she loves the blue top we've currently got on, like the away top, and I said, well, it's the 1990 playoff top. I said, and she wanted to see the 1990 playoff top, and then it showed the pitch invasion, and she went, they're a bunch of arseholes, aren't they? I says, oh, the scumbags. She's American. She goes, they're a bunch of, she says, so they went on that pitch, and the Sunderland players had to run down the tunnel. I went, yeah. She went, they're scumbags, aren't they? I went, aye. So I just thought, get in. You know what I mean? Like, it's good that I'm passing the knowledge on to my family.
Absolutely.
Hey, just a point on the ex-players. So I saw Kieran Richardson. He did a video post as well before.
He did actually, yes.
Every one of them refers to us as we.
Yeah.
So we've got under all of their skins, and it seems to be the team that there was somebody else I read. Who was the big centre half we had? Kabul, exactly the same, saying how much someone got under his skin. And it's fantastic that they all refer to us as we.
I mean, Wabi Kazri was there as a guest as well. It was nice to see him.
Was he really? Was he there? Was he?
Yeah. Kazri was there.
Class.
But Paul, I was reading like some of the social media stuff from like the more popular mag pages, right? And they were actually saying that like our atmosphere is shite away and at home. St James's Park is not what it used to be. We need to get something what Sunderland have got going. So there is actually a bit of envy there, isn't there?
Yeah, I noticed that, and not the fans saying it, and also what was it? Was it Keith? Was it Keith Downey? Like some of the mag journalists were also saying it. Like, and the fans seem to kind of take it. Like I thought, geez, this is just like lighting touch paper. The fans are mental, basically, because what they even said is he basically said, I think it was Keith Downey, he basically said, the reason why we're struggling this season is because our fans aren't like Sunderland. He basically, I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically the point he was making. I was thinking, they're going to go absolutely mental. But actually, like you're saying, even the fans, I think, some of them are saying it as well.
Yeah, well, I've got a mate who's been going for years, and a bit like Sean, he's a mate who you can have a sensible conversation with. And I was talking to him this morning, and I said, how did you get on Saturday? Any hassle? He said, he'd been to three of the away games in Europe, and a lot of away games. He follows them home and away, always has done. And he said the biggest issue they've got is the old fans and the new fans hate each other. So they've got a lot of new fans who are coming in. I've only been following the club for a matter of, short number of years. He's been going for 30 odd, 40 odd years, and he said they hate each other.
Mm-hmm. Well, long may it continue. Anyway, listen, the reason why we have this such huge bond between the fans and the club actually goes back to a comment that David Bruce made about being a fan-centric club. Now, this comment actually came sporadically from Kirill Louis-Dreyfus in one of the meetings. He said that I want to make Sunderland AFC the number one fan-centric club in the country. And since David Bruce came in, he's worked with Chris Waters, who we need to give Chris a special mention because he won the Supporter Services Award. The lad has been there, since the 2010, 2011. He won the award then or just after. He's had to deal with a lot of shit as Chris because the club was run terribly. Now he's finally got the people around him to give him the tools. And Chris is the person leading this fan engagement plan. And I think that he, along with David Bruce and anyone else involved, deserve massive credit, right, Robin?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've spoken to Chris personally. I've met him a couple of times. He's done me a few favours in terms of getting to meet some players to hand over awards and stuff. And Bruce, he's a local lad, a very, very intelligent local lad with a lot of football knowledge, and I think he's a lot behind what's going on in terms of the connection with the fans and the city and everything. So all credit to everybody at the club, and particularly those two.
Yep. Right then, very quickly then, lads, we've got another game on Saturday. The Premier League does continue, Brighton away, it's a tough game. 4 of our starting 11, Sean, will be missing because they're at AFCON. So who comes in to take their places?
I want to say, I've said this to you, who I'm going to say in midfield. You do. Who am I going to say, Lee?
Dan Neil.
Dan Neil, right? I'm going to say, I want to say Sirkin and I want to say Dan Neil. And I think if you put Dan Neil alongside Xhaka and Lefebvre, right, I think he'd be a different Dan Neil from what we've seen last season. And I think he's fit because he hasn't played. So he's going to be, in terms of, he's not going to be carrying knocks or anything. He's going to be ready to go. I'd play him. I'd put him in there. I'd put Sirkin in there. He may play Hume on the right. We've got plenty of options. Getrauda, who I know he likes. He's very fond of Getrauda, isn't he? And he holds and carries the ball really well. And I know I said to you a few weeks back, I'd play him in midfield. Now you said, and a couple of Dutch boys I work with said, oh, he ain't got the legs for midfield. But I don't know, mate. He might be an opportunity, a chance, but I'm not worried. So I've got faith in this team and the leaders, aren't they? So I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, well, Paul, we got Mundell on the left. He's option. Dingo hasn't been selected by Ivory Coast, so he's staying behind. So I imagine he'll be kind of licking his lips and thinking, okay, I've got a chance to play now and try and get myself in the World Cup.
Yeah. I think a few weeks ago, a month ago, I was thinking, what kind of team we're going to be putting out during the AFCON. But now, like kind of Sean saying, I'm thinking it's actually going to be decent. I think actually Rigg, I can see him putting Rigg in. I also I wouldn't mind seeing Dan Neil get a game and see how he does. I personally think he'll probably go for Rigg instead. But it's a good chance. It's a good chance for them to have
as long as you don't,
get some games.
Get
I
a load
forgot
of
about Rig,
injuries.
actually. Yeah, I forgot about Rig.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got Rig, Neil,
Yeah, I forgot about
Bruno,
Rig.
Isidore, Mayenda, Adringa. You know, you got options
And
up
the good
front.
thing is, it's like the spine of the team is a lot of the span of the team is kind of staying the same,
Yeah.
and so I feel like it's gonna, even though we're gonna lose some quality, it doesn't. I don't think it's gonna feel like we're completely decimated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know
Robin,
we haven't mentioned Siddiqui and his contribution on Sunday. And I don't know which stream you were watching, but the quote of the day for me was, I don't know whether you heard it, that 70% of the world's covered by water, the other 30% is covered by Siddiqui. What a quote.
yeah,
I've
that's
never
been.
seen a more energetic footballer. Honestly, I don't know how he does it. He just, every time you look at him, he's running.
Yeah.
No,
Have you seen that picture where he's face to face with one of the mag players? I can't remember who it is, but like he's basically nose to nose with the mag players. He's got like slaver coming down his mouth. I'm thinking, yeah, get in him.
What is he,
I just thought it was
20?
worthy of a
20?
mention.
you'll never be to call him a lazy so and so, will you?
Yeah.
Like he just never stops running. I've never seen. He's unreal, man. His energy's.
Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it? Because when the three of them are all back, in terms of him, Lefay, like with regular midfield, is Diarra getting in that midfield, which is, it's mental to think, because he's a record signing. He comes very, very highly rated, but at the minute, I'm not dropping any of them. It's crazy. So
Yeah. Well, he's also been linked, Robin, with a move to Chelsea and Man United, who apparently after Siddiqui.
Yeah, I saw that. Be very interesting to see if they did come in with like I've heard 80 million or so bandied about, whether we'd take it or not. It's,
we're not doing any business of that in January, are we?
Well, not in January, no, but I mean in the summer. You know what I mean? If you
Yeah.
get like a daft offer, then I suppose you have to
Yeah.
kind of look at it, don't you? That's the kind of club we've become.
Yeah. Possibly.
Yeah, they will. Even in January, to be honest, I think if an offer like that came in January, I think we might take it, which would be,
Yeah.
I mean, in a way, it'd be gutting because, but yeah, Siddiqui, 20 years old, I think. I mean, his potential's absolutely enormous, isn't it? It wouldn't surprise me if those kind of figures do come in at some point.
Well, I think he's gonna be the first £100 million footballer, isn't he? That's what they're saying at Sunderland. That's when you listen to all the journalists and podcasts and stuff, and the predictions in the club are that he's going to be the first footballer we sell for 100 million. So,
well, we'll see. We're 21 today, Paul, Noah Siddiqui, so happy birthday, Noah.
see, there you go.
Robin, but you mentioned there like about the AFCON players. I suppose it helps massively that we're on a high, rather than like losing these players and like we're struggling. So I think like these players like Rig, Neil, they'll think, listen, like I've got those boots to fill, and I'm gonna do my like best I can.
Yeah, any of these players coming in, they're coming in with another 7 or 8 players who've got that winning mentality. And no better time to come in on the back of a derby win.
Yep, and we still haven't had Granit Xhaka getting booked, so he's ready to play on Saturday.
Amazing, that Lee. Incredible, that. How many games? He must have went 6 games now. And every week I've said to you, can you remember I was before that City game? I was a mess going. He's gonna miss the derby. He is. It's bad management. I was having the right moan, wasn't I? Right, and he's just, I don't know how he doesn't. Same as Siddiqui. How are them two not getting booked? Like, incredible, really.
I think Xhaka manages the referees very well.
Does.
Whenever there's anything going on, he's in and around doing the captain's job, talking to the referees, and I think that's maybe part of the reason why he's not getting.
Could be. Yeah.
Well,
there's the respect factor and stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I've heard people say, "Listen, Siddiqui and Xhaka's going to get booked, and they're going to miss the derby, and then we'll win against Bournemouth, and then we'll get beat against the Mags, and they'll beat our home record." And I was like, "Oh, get stuff, man. We've done both things, and we've passed through the flying colours, haven't we?" So
exactly.
But listen, I think Paul. Listen, we've lost some players, but I still think we can be competitive, and we will go to Brighton on Saturday. Listen, win, draw, or lose, I think we've still got Granit Xhaka on the pitch, and he will demand a performance.
Yeah. Definitely. And we're playing away from home. We're playing really well. I think it suits our style of football. We can go there and try and play like on the break a bit. I think, yeah. And we'll be underdogs again. How many games this season have we been underdogs in? Pretty much all of them, apart from maybe
Burnley.
like Wolves at home, and maybe like one or two others most, and yet we just still keep proving people wrong. And obviously a draw would be brilliant. Just a draw to keep the run going.
Yeah.
And then Leeds on the 28th will be brilliant.
Yep. Right, well, lads, I'm going to wrap it up there because I've got another podcast in the old Espanol to do after this one. So listen, Paul, go on, I'll give you a prediction for Saturday, Brighton away.
Head says maybe a narrow defeat, but heart says I'm going to go absolutely wild here and say a battling 0-0, which would be fantastic.
Robin?
I'm going to say a sneaker 2-1 away win.
Sneaker 2-1 away win, good. Sean?
1-1. I don't think we'll get beat there. So,
all right. I'm going to go for 2-2.
The Desmond.
Aye. Right, I'm going to end the podcast now. Cheers, lads. How are the lads? Fuck the mags. See you next time. Thank you.